Hey, I'm your host, Wes.
And I'm your host, Scott.
Come on in and grab a seat.
Because you're hanging with us at the Barbershop. Just a quiet room by yourself.
You don't have to be quiet anymore. I got the noise profile.
Oh, I know, but right?
Only needed a few seconds.
But right, it's good. It's good. It's, man, there's so much feedback in the world, right? And your kids and the car and your wife and right, everybody's got something to say, and sometimes it's nice to just be by yourself
and have nothing to.
No, you know, as long I mean, right?
I don't have to say shit.
No, and as long as your inner monologue's not fucking bad mouthing you, you're all right.
Oh, my inner monologue beats the shit out of me. I don't know about yours.
Oh, not all the time though. No. I mean, right? There's days.
Lately, it's been really good.
Oh, fantastic! But as I've always said, and I don't know if that begrudges my driving or it doesn't. Well, you know, they talk about. I read a book years ago, Raising Supermen. It really talked about these elite athletes and how they really they put themselves sort of above and beyond, and they almost like a trance-like kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they said, you know, you could do it, or I could do it, and and she says the easiest way of doing it is, you know, you're in your car, you're doing that familiar drive, and all of a sudden you're like, I don't remember the last 3 turns. How did I get to Fowler's Corners?
Oh, I knew somebody who did that. Somebody that we know. I shall not name them.
It's not necessarily bad because you're still cognizant of it, but you've just allowed your lower brain or upper brain, whatever the thought process was, that it allowed you were in a trance-like situation, and you didn't actually have to. If you had been thinking about something else, you probably would have had some really poignant thoughts. Because
that may be true, but I always and driving is the one you hear it about the most, and you nailed it when you say like I remember leaving and I remember getting there, but I don't remember anything in between. How much attention are you paying to the road?
I mean, I feel like I am. I'm like,
you got there. So I
was looking at something. I didn't drive off the road.
Yeah.
I didn't.
No.
Now here's the you know, if something jumped out at me, who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
And we're recording?
We have been for the last.
I assume that was good chit chat. That was good pre-show ramble.
It's been a while.
Yeah, that's good.
Hey, dude.
Hey, man.
We're back.
We are.
I guess I should get it out of the way right away, because I did kind of lay it down on our last one. I said that by the end of the weekend, there would be a discussion at my house.
Right. The pergola.
And I should have prepped this earlier.
I mean, if you look hard in the background.
Well, that's true. I'm going to take a couple seconds here, and I'm going to treat. I don't know if it's a treat. It's a treat to me.
Sure.
I'm going to treat the viewing audience to some pictures. And actually, you know where I think it is? I think it's in the fancy event.
Right.
No offense to the listeners, but if you don't know me personally, you're not invited. I love you all.
Yeah.
Please tell your friends.
Yeah.
Dang it. I can't find it.
Well, it's funny too, because there was somebody else that the other day we were talking about, and they were asking how they find out when the new episodes come out. And I'm like, you've listened to every episode.
Yeah.
Yet whatever you you know, whether Spotify or iTunes or whatever, you still haven't hit the subscribe button.
That's because it would automatically populate the episodes.
It would tell you, hey, there's a new episode of Hanging at the Barbershop, Matt. You should listen to it. Big shout out.
I can't actually tell you when this one's gonna come out, but
whatever.
If you click the subscribe button on whatever platform of choice, you will get the little ding notification.
Yeah. So thanks for listening. That's how you figure out when the new episodes are coming out. And yeah.
All right. Now I found it. Sorry, you had to carry the whole show for a few seconds.
Oh, that's okay.
So let's hear. Here it is. This is my
so this is before and after.
This is my outdoor space. I'm gonna have to share this. All right, there it is. So this is the outdoor space that we were trying to create, and over there on the very end is our I call it the new deck because that's the extension we put on a few years ago, with the single coat of stain on the fence boards there, and then we'd had the 10x10 not pergola, the gazebo with the stupid polycarbonate panels you can leave up over the winter. My ass. Anyway, it evolved, and we've been kind of bust and hump the last, I don't know, couple of weeks getting this ready.
For sure.
There's our the progress that we've made, but the real I guess getting to the real crux of it is, there's some lumber.
Look at them
So
4x4s.
So there's more.
That makes me kind of hard just looking at that much money in one place.
So our
I got lumber.
Andy, our editor, actually said to me the other day, he's like, "Holy crap, you're brave leaving that much money in your driveway." And I'm like, well, I didn't know what else to do with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then all cedar too, right? So we get to the point where the deck is ready, and we start assembling this monstrosity, which, by the way, I gotta say, thanks once again for coming over and helping us. I don't think the two of us could have got this thing all together.
I don't know how any of these projects throw down like suggested time for 2 people.
45 minutes, my ass.
That was right. That was 3 of us.
It's written right. It's written right on the box. 45 minutes. I think that's based upon the 8x8 with nothing else in it, like none of the extra slats that we've put in. But yeah, and there's a shot of me sort of get a frame. Like I'm 6 feet tall, 6'1", and probably a little shorter now because I'm older and heavier, but I'm still roughly 6 feet tall, and that's
gravity sucks.
Yeah, I know. And then there it is. After you came and helped us get it up, we get the sail all put in there, and so no more messing around with stupid rolled.
Right, you're happy.
I'm super happy. Kim's really happy.
I'm also glad that we talked about timber and getting it up. I enjoyed both those puns.
Absolutely. You can make any joke about that you want. And then, of course, we added this extra little roller shade at the end, which just happens to be a very close color match for the sail. So yeah, there it is, folks. The decision was made, and we did it. We got the new pergola, and here it is. I don't know how long the last gap was between the last show, but seems like it was not that long.
And if this goes out quickly, it'll just be 2 weeks.
2 weeks. It's a regular schedule.
Yeah.
Oh shit, then we did really good then.
Yeah. Oh, I try to keep us on track, bud.
All right.
Yeah. It's like, do you want to record? And then
I'm trying.
I'll come and pick you up. Well, I mean, it's tough too, because this is your casual. This is your where I feel like know. It's like Fandom Power. It's such a set thing, and you put so much time into it, and you're recording with Hank, so then it's like, well, you've set up a date and a time when you're going to meet, and so I mean, there's just more. There's predictability.
There's predictability with the other show, certainly when we do anything that's review style, because
the longer you wait, the more irrelevant it becomes.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm okay. Like, I'm in that. I feel that we're right in the happy place where, like, the stuff that we're doing right now, it's heavily Star Wars based, and of course, you're kind of beholden to the release schedule of the episodes, right? But like you say, thing comes out on Friday, we're generally getting our episode published
Monday.
Monday has been where we're hitting. We were trying to hit Sundays because we were recorded on Saturday. But sometimes it just, for hook or by crook, it just, you need more editing time or you need more whatever time. And it just makes it a little bit easier to, I don't have to be, I'm not that guy that, I don't have to be first. I don't want to be first.
Right.
To be honest with you, I don't like the idea of like, oh, everyone's talking about it. So, but that is kind of, there's the inverse of that is if you don't get it out with at least within a couple of days.
The more you wait, the more your personal opinion is swayed.
Right. So that's where this is. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Now the big question is, why should you listen to my show, my pop culture show, which is a heavily Star Wars review based, if I'm not getting my stuff out same day? Well, I would say that we offer a unique experience in that we tend to narrate the entire episode. So if you didn't actually watch the episode,
You know what's going on.
You could listen to our show and you could, in a very linear way, be brought up to speed through the narrative process of our review. And then you get all of the little quirks and jerks and little like connective
nuance and connective tissue for sure.
So I mean, not to toot my own horn, but we do have we have 3 or 4 fans who have actually come back and actually said that they like our narrative style and they hope that we don't change it. So all I can say is, as long as the shows don't go over 40 minutes, that's fine. I said to Hank the other day, I said, God help us, the first person that says, please review a movie, an hour and a half or a 2-hour movie, because if the listeners can't tell right now, I'm a little nasally because, well,
you got a man cold.
I survived 2 years of coronavirus without so much as a freaking sniffle, only to get taken out by a summer cold after I got my second vaccination. And so I'm still I'm on the back end of it now. I'm starting to come around, but
and if you haven't listened, you actually gave up the reins this week.
I did. I had to. I was so head full that I did not have the capacity to sit. And here's where
I mean, you also I feel like it knocked, like, right? You weren't just nasally, you were like tired, exhausted.
Yeah.
So and Andy was cool, and
he totally, without even batting an eyelash, said, do you want me to pick up the notes this week and we can sit down and talk about it pre-recording and we can go over it? And I'm like, sure. And then it worked out that we didn't actually have to do that because he was 100% prepared to narrate the whole show, which was great, which actually was kind of a break for me because sometimes I find it difficult to do my commentary when I'm actually trying to keep the show moving. Right. So you get to the end of the show, which typically we're clocking in at about an hour and a half on a 25-minute episode.
Yep.
And I'll get to the end of it, and sure as shit, as soon as we shut the cameras off, and I'll turn to Andy and I'll go, I missed a thing. And he'll say, what? But anyway, the guys were super, super helpful. Actually, I think at some point between the two of them, they thought they were going to try and split up the task, because Saturday morning rolled around and I got a message from Hank. I don't know, it's about 9:00 our time. And he's like, I just watched it and I'm starting to do my notes now. And I kind of chuckled to myself and I'm like, he's not going to be ready by 11.
No.
And the joke, and it's not a joke, I'm dead serious when I tell them, I'm like, and I mean, you've had to wait for me to finish what I was doing so you could come in and use the equipment one night, because it's like, I'm doing my notes, I should be done in the next hour, which didn't happen. But I am consistently on a half an hour show. I'm clocking in at about 7 hours of note taking
it's crazy.
It is. Like I said in the actual show, I said it's the most. I love what we do. I love doing it. I think it's awesome. I do it for no other reason than because I like to share that stuff with people who like it. It's the best non-job job I've ever had.
Yeah.
And it really is a job when you're doing it at that level. And I think anybody who, dips into, audio and video production gets a real appreciation for
writing or whatever. I mean, once you've got a creative outlet, it really does allow you. And I mean, right, you can get lost in it or however, once you start, it flows.
I cheated once. I actually,
pardon me.
One episode early on, I cheated and I went to the Wikipedia, because the Wikipedia entry for that episode had been updated before I did my notes. And I'm like, I just don't have it in me. And so I used the Wikipedia as the narrative. Sorry about that. But
did you feel like it flowed as well as when?
No, when it's not your own. So yeah, it takes 7 hours for me to narrate a half an hour show, but it's in my own words. I know what's coming next. It's a much nicer process. So anyway,
very true. When you read somebody else's notes and then you're like, you don't know, and it doesn't flow out. And as you say, and then you get stuck on a word that you're like, why did he use that word?
It's interestingly enough, and I'm not going to keep going on about it, because like I said, if you want to join us over on our sister show on Fandom Power, you can catch us all the platforms, alternating every Saturday until the end of the Bad Batch, until we decide that we're going to do something else, which we do have some stuff in the pipes.
You're not going to start on Turner and Hooch?
I have yet to even watch a single episode of that, and I'm not sure if I'm going to. I have pretty fond memories of that movie, but I was so young.
Yeah.
When the original.
The dog was slobbery. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
And Tom Hanks or John Belushi?
No, Tom Hanks. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like,
I think it was in Tom Hanks in that where he was just starting to pivot out of comedy and starting to get more dramatic roles.
So what do? Work with an animal?
Yeah, what they say in Hollywood: no kids, no animals.
Yeah.
So the next couple of weeks are kind of busy for us. I mean, outside of the shows and outside of work and stuff, and it just happened to work out. It's like, oh, the Civic Weekend is almost upon us.
It almost is upon us.
Well,
hallelujah.
We have a guest coming in from out of town who, because of the bus system, has to come in on Friday, which means and his bus is arriving exactly when I would be, noon hour, when I'd be in the middle of, I'd be 5 minutes in and, 10 pages of notes by that point. Right. And it's like, now I have to entertain somebody on Friday as well. So I very humbly asked the gentleman, would either of you be willing to take the notes for me on this coming weekend? And Andy didn't even hesitate. Oh yeah, I got it covered. Which is good, because the following weekend after that, Kim and I are taking a mini vacation. So that basically is, so this weekend coming is the Civic. Next weekend is the
your away time,
our mini vacay, which leaves us one final episode of the Bad Batch that I should be back on track for. I don't think there's anything happening, but the guys have been like super amenable to picking up my slack, as I called it.
It's nice, right? To have that ability too. And you've been allowing it to land all on your shoulders. And I mean, right, it's nice to have it spread out. So.
Kim actually asked me, legitimate question for her too, right? Because she knows that I can get kind of territorial about stuff, right? When I think like it's my thing versus, our thing or her thing or your thing or their thing. And she's like, she actually used the same words. Are you going to be able to give up the reins? And I was so sick. I was like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah, I don't have a choice.
I just don't care.
And then, it works out.
The show must go on.
Yeah, and you liked it.
I did.
So, I mean, that helps.
I really did. I love the idea of being able to just...
And I mean, from listening to what Andy's done on Off the Path of Normal.
The Path of Normal, yeah.
He can narrate a show. He can write notes. He
doesn't give himself enough credit, by the way. When you go to edit this, Andy, you've got to leave that line in. You don't give yourself enough credit, so should,
it all sounds good. Every time I hear us,
that's right.
It's good. It's good. So yard work is done.
All of the outdoor yard. I put some finishing touches on today when I mounted the hose reel on the back. We didn't have last year. We finally got water on the back of the house. We never had that before. So now we got water. We got to have a hose reel. So I got that mounted on the house today, and then I put power. Ran power out to the lights that we put on the pergola, and I wanted to conceal the extension cord, so I went and bought some nylon cable ties, and I screwed those in. So that's all done.
Nice.
Probably got to mow the lawn one more time this week before people show up. But, weather's not looking great for the weekend. I don't know if you noticed. Civic Weekend traditionally has been mid 25. It's been really good, right? So it's our weekend where we get to splash around the pool and be stupid adults. And this year I'm actually worried that this might be the first year that nobody swims. Forecast for the weekend, highs of 19 and 20. So that's not going to bode well for the temperature of the water.
No,
which I still have to get in there and clean it before
Lots to do. At
least the new cover's on, so that's
that's
helping.
Yeah, keeping it steady.
That's helping,
right?
Yeah.
Oh dear, I'm moving way too much today, hitting my mic.
That's all right.
But so I had an interesting day yesterday.
Okay.
So I, as a full-time employee, I either have a 8:30 to 5 or 1 to 9:30.
Okay.
Get my schedule well far ahead of time. I also like to put my schedule in my phone, so it's in my calendar, and then I also get notifications through our payroll app.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So you have lots of information coming at you all the time.
Yeah.
As a good connected person should.
And right, our schedule's been a little different. We've got holidays going on, so consistently I work a night a week.
Yep.
But it moves. So
Right.
sometimes it's Tuesday, sometimes it's Monday, sometimes it's Thursday.
Okay.
Well, yesterday I got up feeling like I had gotten up late. Nothing was really flowing.
Right.
I got out of the bathroom rotation, so that took me more time to wait for Georgia to get out of the washroom so I could go into the washroom. And just
right, teenager.
Yeah. I don't want to even knock on the door.
No.
I don't want you in here. Why are you bothering me? Like, I just need my toothbrush.
You can just throw it at me, really. It's
Yeah,
okay.
but right, God only knows what's happening, and so I don't even want to knock on the door. If I see her walk by, I'd be like, I missed my window.
Yeah,
because she worked. So I mean, right, fair enough.
Yeah.
So right, get up, and then I'm slow getting dressed, and then I'm slow getting downstairs and making my coffee, and I'm like, text the girl that's at work. I'm like, I am for sure running late. I will be there by 9, but I'm not going to be there for 8:30. Not a chance.
Okay.
And get in the car and drive, and I get there, no reply to the text, and she's like, "Oh, are you supposed to be here?" And I'm like, "Ah, shit." So I got there at I don't even know, 52 minutes or 10 to whatever.
Yeah.
And realized I wasn't supposed to be there till 1.
Wait. So what time did you show up?
Like 8:45, 8:50. I thinking I started at 8:30.
That's like 5.5 hours.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they're like, "Oh." And sometimes one of the girls lives fairly close, and she's like, "Listen, I'll just swap with you. I'll go home." She's like 15 minutes around the corner.
Sure.
Well, she's on holidays. The other girl's probably not quite as far as me, but she's out of town.
Yeah, like let's quantify that. I think we've said it before, but you're a 45-minute drive to work?
Yeah.
One way.
Yeah.
Shit.
And they're like, "Are you gonna go home?" And I'm like, "Nah," because 45 minutes. So then you're like, it's almost 10. And then I drove home just for that. It would have thrown my whole
45 minutes one way. So now you're not like another hour and a half round trip.
It ruins my getting gas on Tuesdays vibe.
Right.
So I signed in.
Yeah.
Signed right back out.
Yeah.
And then I went and sat in the car, read my book.
Okay.
And until I got hot.
With the air conditioning on?
Well, with the window down at the start, and then and the way the sunrise comes up, so it's beating on the window all day, and it got hot. So then I was like, okay, and it's like 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I've been wanting to get a whiteboard.
Oh, sure.
So I've got some show ideas and stuff, and so much stuff rolling around in this foolish head of mine.
Need a way to get it out.
Yeah, and then who have I talked to? When did they want to follow up?
Yeah.
Are they free? Do they have more time? So I thought, well, if I get a whiteboard, I can just write it all down, break it down, topics, and then a name to that topic, and maybe keep it a little clearer in my head, right?
Good. There's no harm in trying to get organized. I struggle with that daily.
Yeah. So went down to Staples, easy peasy, bought it. And then once you're down there near Home Depot, I like Herc's Nutrition.
Yeah.
Good guy there. Plus he does like healthy shakes.
Healthy shakes, yes. Yes,
So
you treated me to one.
Yeah. So I popped in for a shake and I shot the shit with Stathy, which was cool. Trying to convince him that he should come on the show because he's an interesting guy.
Yeah, sure.
He was like, I'm like, what do you mean?
Do you think it would change people's opinions if you? I mean, I'm sure you're putting it out there too. If you tell them that they don't even have to leave their house as long as they have a computer.
Yeah, call in or we'll send you a link and.
We can pipe them in with a link. You don't even have to have the application we're using. We can just can send you an
invite.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was good. And then I was talking to the guy from Peterborough Axe. Just a couple things.
Right.
We'd signed up for league whenever it starts. We're getting closer and closer to the club reopening. And I talked to him about, so I signed up.
Yes.
And didn't sign Michelle up because.
Is she going to want to make the drive?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You guys played, did you not do a league in Peterborough?
No.
You didn't?
No.
Okay, all right.
But ideally, her driving to Peterborough to play and then home is no different than me driving to Lindsay and then home.
So it's kind of the same thing.
It is.
Yeah.
And she's already in Lindsay, so it makes sense. But we're sort of worried about her back. And I had thought that Peterborough, I would assume, is going to run smoother and not as many. Like, I think you're going to throw more consistently, that you're not going to be playing back-to-back-to-back games, where I feel like that was happening in Lindsay.
Well, when the no, I shouldn't say that.
No, but yeah, Lindsay ran differently,
They
and
definitely did, yeah.
I don't think that's, it's like anything, and I don't begrudge anybody and how they manage things or how they run things. But I mean, life happens, and there's always somebody else that needs something else. And
I just say one thing, and this is not an indication of how anything was run, but if you're staff, you should be staff and nothing but.
Yeah, it's interesting, but I think that's one of the perks of the job, is that you get to play for free.
Sure.
But
maybe just not on a league night.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. But I think that if that's the perk of the job, or right. But anyway, however you run your business.
I know we were in my parents and for years, bowling family, right? And it's the same thing in bowling, where everybody scores everybody else, and you get those people who don't want to get off their behinds for whatever reason, or don't want to do.
Yep.
They just want to roll balls and that's it, right?
Yep.
And you get people at the club who just want to throw axes and nothing else.
Yep.
And it's one of those things. I guess you just have to decide. You got to decide how you feel about it.
Yes.
I, for one, I think it's fucking bullshit.
But yeah, and I think in being for work, having that as a franchisee has 2 stores, and I truly believe the other store runs different than us. And I'm like, it shouldn't.
But
I mean, it's a third the size of us. If anything, it should only run smoother and cleaner and better. And there's just little nuances. And I'm like, why? Why would you make so much more work for yourself? If this little tidbit works for, a $10 million store, then that same little thing's going to make a $3 million store mint.
That's a leadership issue.
And again, I don't want to get there, because I like the guy that runs it. He just runs it differently.
Sure.
And you know what? And I worked there when it first opened. And it's this nuance of the boss is 45 minutes away. We're going to do what we want versus follow policy and procedure.
Again, that's a leadership thing. It also ultimately, I mean, it's not a slag against anybody, but but all private sector, 99% of your issues can be traced back to leitership and or management.
Right.
If there's not stuff in place.
And as I say, I don't want to slag anybody. It's just different. And I think when you get back to the home club or the first club, I think you'll see it run a little much smoother.
I'll take your word for it.
I can guarantee.
First time we ever threw axes was in that building, so maybe there's something to go, something to be said about that. I just don't know if I'm ready for another league right now. I'd like to be, but I think I was a little soured at the last one, especially with the unforeseen closure and just how that was handled. That was a little bit like, so it's hard for me to want to, it's hard for me to want to spend my money again when it comes down to some pretty piss poor leadership, and I don't know if I want to support that kind of, I don't want to say ineptness, but really, like, on some level it's like, there are some pretty poor choices there. I don't think I want to reward you for that,
right?
So I'm happy to.
I bought axes, and I need to justify
the expense.
That I bought axes right before.
So what you should do is you should make a whole bank of targets in your backyard, and I got just one. I got
all the stuff to go and start the second one.
That's good.
So maybe we'll drag them down to your house.
I hope that plywood helped.
Oh yeah, my theory is that it should. All in theory. I haven't. No screw to wood yet. But yeah, I brought home a plastic skid as the base, so it was
Plastic?
Yeah, so
Like an actual
yeah,
pallet made it like plastic
Yeah.
lumber. Is
no,
that how it works? Okay,
no,
so
it's
different.
but it's certainly robust. And then because to me that's the weakest point is the ground where it's wet and dirty, and so there'll be no rot from the ground up.
Yeah, exactly.
So to me that just makes the base
Well, especially on
secure.
that plywood that I gave you. Remember, it's not treated, so
No, and it's all it's doing is performing one solid back for everything else to screw on. So easy versus So write my ideas. We'll see how it goes. But yeah.
Well, you let me know when you want to get that going, and we'll put it together.
So yeah, then I went to Chapters.
Oh, one of my favorite places, and I can't tell you the last time I was in one.
I'll tell you. So they're open.
Yep.
But and then they got a list at the front. Masks are mandatory of the store before you go in, and then they're telling you what's a mask and what's not a mask. So what's approved and what's not approved.
Oh, that's a company policy. So
yeah. So no masks with the little filters. So no N95s with filters.
An N95 though that's ridiculous. Okay, but
sure. It has to me,
I get it.
And the picture that they showed, I mean, it wasn't a cut and paste, but
I know
it was
the ones they're talking about.
Yeah,
but I think anybody who would challenge an N95
is ridiculous. But to me, that the picture was an N95.
That's funny though.
But I mean, it was just I
know the ones you're talking.
No
about.
Gaiters, no bandanas.
Oh.
Which again, they're not a medical.
You mean my lovely head covering if I pulled it down? Now I've seen that.
Me too.
A million times. Living across this, let me tell you, living across the street from a gas station and you see everything because my living room window faces the pumps, right? So I mean, I'm forever looking at like, oh, there's a nice car. And then I see like this stupid stuff. People get out, kids, and they get out, they walk from their car, they get halfway to the door, they stop because they've got their wallet in their hand or whatever.
A wallet, a phone, and keys.
They look back at the car, they look at the store, and then they pull their t-shirt up over their nose and away they go.
They gave Brandon a hard time at the start of the pandemic about that.
Oh my God.
Like, you need to buy a mask, and he's like, I'll give you $1.
Yeah.
And like, no, you need to buy it. And he's like, there's no way I'm paying $10 for a disposable mask. You're price gouging. He says, I'll give you $1 for it because that's all it's worth. And then he's like, or don't take my money because I didn't pay at the pump. I owe you money. I want to pay you.
Yeah.
And you're telling me I can't pay you. So you know who I am. If you need to call the cops, I'll come back and pay later.
That's what you got to do, I guess. Yeah.
But I'm not buying a $10.
I'm not going to spend $10 for a mask. No way.
Not a chance.
I had a guy come
and he's like,
here.
And she's like, no, that's not acceptable.
I had a guy come in here not too long ago who was like one of those, like, I can't even tell you what his business model is, but it's one of those like, what's tracking right now?
Right.
That's what I got to be selling. And he's like, and now I've got something like 25,000 masks. I can't fucking give them away. Because the demand is the supply has now
everybody got in on it.
Yeah.
Well, that's even our hand sanitizers gone clearance. So you're going from a $10 jug to like $388.
It's the surgical masks are the fidget spinners of 2021,
and they've come down. I think they're a box of 50 is like $4 now.
Yep.
And you couldn't buy them for less than
a lot,
$30-$40.
Yeah.
But so I mean, right, if you're a prepper, man, time to buy in,
I guess. Yeah,
maybe wood and property will come down next.
Well, yeah, wood was the wrong time to do wood,
what are you gonna do?
It was nice.
You know what though, it's I bet it was cheaper than what it was 3 months ago.
It was. We'd made the decision that we were gonna, because our truck is a light truck, sport truck, light truck, small truck, Tacoma, right? So,
right.
But a short box, right? Because it's a quad cab. And it's like, we'll get the lumber locally because
you're not driving as far.
I don't need to be driving down the highway with 12-foot beams hanging out the back of my truck, right? So I'm like, we'll get them around the corner at the lumberyard in town. And then so we bought everything, and then we went home, and Kim looked up all the lumber from the Home Depot's website, and we figured we could have saved about $200.
Right. That's just you right. But as soon as you start looking it up, you've opened the door,
Damn
yeah,
you.
to be disappointed with yourself.
Yeah.
But
So,
I mean, that's it.
but it's all done now. And
Yeah.
I mean, the convenience of just being able to go and get it, to me, that there's value in that.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind.
It's convenience.
It really is.
And we're going to go anywhere else in town.
No.
So
No, when you're looking for cedar and the two places that sell lumber, only one of them sells cedar.
Yep.
So
the real lumberyard.
that's true.
Oh, the other
That's
one's just
true.
it's convenience.
That's right.
So yeah, went to Chapters, big list of approved
Oh,
and
yeah, so-
non-approved masks.
Yeah, no,
And I
no
thought-
bandanas,
No.
no t-shirts over your nose.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, I'm good.
So are they doing the clear plastic, the shell thingies? Are they,
there was a list of no clear masks.
because those really aren't masks.
No masks with mesh. No. I should have taken a picture.
So what you're saying is my pop filter here would not
Be approved.
Oh, that's funny.
But I mean, I'm sure people have been figuring out, oh, I'll wear a mask and I'll just put little holes in it and then I can breathe easier.
I guess.
And it's all good. I tell you though, there's nothing sweeter than the first breath you take after you're done work and you take your mask
You haul
off.
that thing off.
It's like, right, as much as they say that there's no issues or problems or rebreathing or whatever, but I tell you,
the stench of your own breath after a 6
I've been
7
eating
hour
pepperettes.
shift. Well, there you go, right?
honey garlic.
Dude, I have a single breath mint.
Yeah.
One breath mint with the mask on, and I'm in tears because
Right.
of the mint.
Yeah.
And it's like, people, what, are you okay? What are you crying for?
I'm
Like, it's okay.
super
I'm having a
sensitive.
mint.
Yeah,
I'm
super
just freshening
sensitive.
my breath.
Yeah. So I mean, they trap a lot for sure.
They do.
So went in, got a couple books. It was the one I was excited about because it's a new one, so I paid way too
Yep.
much for it. Probably paid $39 for the hardcover.
Attaboy. We love hardcover books at our
Oh,
place.
they're nice.
They really are. If you have a home library, nothing looks better than a bank
Yeah.
of hardcovers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there for years, I never bought hardcover. Right, I would wait.
They're bigger, which means the print is bigger.
It's true.
My old man eyes really appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh, that we'll go into that because I want to talk about that too. Getting old.
Wait till we get to do the first episode and I get my readers on.
Yeah. Oof.
My prescription readers.
Yeah. So got a couple books. Picked up the next one I needed for the Expanse. So Nemesis games. I hope I haven't gone upstairs yet to actually compare it to make sure it's not on my already on my bookcase.
Oh,
I'm the
my
worst. I'm
God.
like, I think that's the one I need. But
Kim's done that before. She's
Oh.
bought books that she's already owned.
Yep.
Because the publisher has changed the cover.
you know who was bad for that? And it made me almost disappointed was Game of Thrones. So
As soon as it became a TV show.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
all the covers got a redo, and
Yeah.
then like twice. So it's like, and you knew he was writing another book. So you're like,
Yeah.
is this the new book? No, that's the same book. That's
How
book-
many versions of
Yeah.
the Lord of the Rings trilogy have you seen in the course of our lifetime? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
As soon as it became a movie, they all got the movie poster covers, and
I'm actually waiting. Another good little thing. Well, we'll wrap around. Dune. The new
So,
trailer's out.
okay. So I saw the trailer yesterday. Eric sent me a message.
Makes
today.
my balls tingle.
Eric sent me a message today, and he was all hyped up with the Ghostbuster trilogy,
Right.
the newest trailer
With the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen it today?
I've seen the trailer, not
The one that
today's,
came out
but
today. Watch the one that came out today, and then we can talk about that again.
Okay.
I think it's going to be okay.
okay. Well, the ones with the girls was good.
I agree. I did an entire blog post on that. On my on the business website.
Right.
You can go and check that out if you really want to. But holy shit! So I'm a huge fan of David Lynch's
Right.
Dune, right? Which is all camp. And if you've never, and I've read Dune, and I know how serious the material is. So,
Yep.
And I still love Lynch's
Yep.
Dune. I think it's a great movie. And
I sat down and watched that last year.
I said,
That's how probably during the pandemic.
people were talking about this new one coming out, and it, there was some concern about what it was going to be, and because there wasn't a whole lot of material put out for it. And then it was like, oh, and Jason Momoa is going to be like, oh, Jason Momoa, like what's going on? Is this another like case of Aquaman where
he looks
where
good.
he just gets to be more Jason Momoa?
Yeah.
And then the trailer comes out and it's like, oh yeah, it looks yeah. So I was saying last year, I said my most anticipated movie of 2020 was Maverick, and then Maverick got delayed to like later this year.
Yep.
And so I've been saying my most anticipated movie of 2020 has become my most anticipated movie of 2021. And after seeing the Dune trailer yesterday, that may be unseated.
Looks good. I mean,
Oh
if they can manage to pull it off, and I mean, cinematography is only going to be better. The CGI or the
a million times better.
And I mean, I still like the original because again, you look at it and what they were working with. I'm like, oh, it still carries today for what it is. If you don't get over the fact of what, right, they turned into little boxy robots when they were fighting. But I mean,
that was the shield thing.
It was, it made sense. But now when you see it in the new one, and it's more of a shimmer, right? It's closer to them. You can still see it. It seems like gasoline on water when you look at them. That's how I kind of.
Did you watch the new episode of Marvel's Assembled, the making of Loki? Just a cool little Dune nugget. The Time Variance Authority, the doors that they walk through,
yes,
are directly influenced by the shield tech from Dune. Oh. Yeah, they went and looked at that and went, oh yeah, it looks like.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I totally agree with you that Dune. It looks so many good.
And you know what? And I think too, they're going to take a very strong narrative. And I think part of it's because of where we're at in our society.
Don't try to make it a trilogy.
Just let it be what it is. I think there's going to be a way stronger for all the women characters,
as there should be.
And I think if I didn't read all the books. I really struggled with Dune. I will try to reread it.
If you only read one, just read Dune.
Yeah.
You don't have to read anything else.
Because everything else is extra.
Yeah. And I mean, it gets to a point where Herbert's not writing them anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's his son
somebody
co-wrote.
Yeah.
You don't need to read all that. If you just read Dune, the 1950 whatever.
Yeah, I got through X amount of it. Same thing as Lord of the Rings. I always struggled with it. I'm
still in the Shire in the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
200 pages in.
The women were much more important in the book.
Yeah, Sarah and sorry, not Sarah, the Lady Jessica.
Yeah. And then whoever he falls the
Fremen girl.
Yes.
Whose name escapes Zendaya.
Yeah.
The new one, Zendaya.
Yeah. Which
Mary Jane.
Yeah. So which is very cool. So I mean I'm looking forward to it, and that's it. So yeah. And right, hopefully when the movie comes out, they'll do a reissue of
the book is gonna come out with a new now a major motion picture.
And I'll buy it.
Oh, that's good then.
Yeah. So
if you don't want to, you can borrow my copy.
I
have the science fiction book club edition
there you go.
Like the early 2000s.
You know what? I bought that edition of American Gods.
Oh yeah.
On the whatever anniversary, and they put one out. It's a good book.
Better the science fiction book club edition of Lord of the Rings. It's one volume. It's massive.
Break that spine, eh?
It's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always interesting too. Are you a bookmark guy or are you a fold the corners guy?
Bookmark for sure. Whether it's a napkin or
something
pencil,
you would never fold.
I'm not a dog-eared.
People are like, "Are you dog-earing that book?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's my book."
It's okay when it's your book.
Yeah. All right, you buy it used, and the spine's already broken when you get it. I'm like, "I'll fucking dog-ear it if I want." I'm gonna read. You know what I'm gonna do? And I'll grab it, and I'll go right to the last page, and I'll read the whole fucking last page in front of somebody, and they're like,
"You monster!
What did you just do?" And I'm like, "I just read the last page, fucker. Now shut up." Yeah.
How many times have you done that and it made no sense to you?
Of course it makes no sense. And then it's like, oh, it's me. I fucking already forgot what I read.
That's right, yeah.
Rereading for Scotty Doesn't Know Book Club.
Oh, excellent.
I'm rereading The Fire Dies.
Okay.
So that's the book I've chosen for Michelle to start her sci-fi adventure on. It's an alternative history.
Yeah.
think I might have said this.
Those are fun.
Yeah. So basically, combustion turns off.
Oh, really?
So no propulsion,
no cars,
no electronics.
Yeah.
So, but they all still know about this, and modern manufacturing. So basically, they all
steam powered.
There's a little issue with steam as well. There's something in it at the upper echelon of you're just not getting the same output.
Okay.
Gunpowder still burns, but not at the same output. Very interesting.
Yeah.
And they really don't know for several books they just call it the change.
All right.
But yeah, it's a good little book, and basically they go back to kind of a feudal 1412 kind of.
Oh, really?
But they're basically taking like flat springs out of trucks and making swords, and they're making, they're getting all this gauge wire and making chainmail and
yeah.
So but with modern sensibilities and modern warfare, but they've gone back to like cavalry and bows and stuff like that. But
man, I cannot fathom, my own experience in the military. I cannot fathom the idea of having to be face to face with your enemy to kill them. Couldn't do it.
You wouldn't lie down and let him kill you, though.
No, but I mean, it's a completely different. Warfare is completely different when it's at range.
Yeah. Versus, for sure. It's a video game,
right? With
some extra, right? A little more tactile.
There is certainly a desensitization to it.
Do you remember when? I don't know what the first person shooter was.
There's a lot of them.
The big one.
Call of Duty?
Sure. Call of Duty.
Sure.
And then the U.S. Army put out one as a recruiting tool.
Yes, I do. I remember that.
And I'm like, but I mean, ideally, if you have a good tactical strategy, right, in that, I think in this day and age, it converts, or heaven forbid,
crossover.
like, you watch enough movies. I mean, that drone pilot's in a portable in New Mexico.
Yep.
He's not.
There's a few cases I've seen where video games have translated into the real world, with real practice, especially in the more current generation of games where, texture mapping is so good, measurements are so good, where a lot of race drivers are using video games to familiarize themselves with the tracks.
Yeah. Well, I've told you that story about my friend Reg. And he makes virtual sub tours for new recruits for
submarine.
Yep,
for
the Canadian government.
Oh wow!
So if you're a new naval,
new
recruit
sailor,
So you would run Reg's Oculus or VR tour of your ship before you ever got onto it.
Interesting.
So you would know where all the exits were.
Does he only do submarines, or
I don't think he does submarines anymore, but
sure
he's moved on to some other top secret.
I was going to say, if he was only in the submarine business, he'd want to be pushing for the government to buy some new ones. So.
But that's what he started off as.
That's
and
pretty cool.
And it's like he does really good work. Another guy
we had the virtual range in Petawawa, the indoor range. I never got to use it.
Right.
No, only ever went to the real range.
But yeah. So I mean, there's lots of cool things they're doing with it. But so I got a couple new books.
Yeah. On your 6.5 hour
and
trip to work.
Made it back to work.
Nice.
Read a little bit more. Start of the day. What a long day. And it was a little slower yesterday. And then you kind of get there and you're like, and I'll be honest, I sleep in on days I don't have to go to work till 1. I'm not getting out of bed when Michelle gets out of bed. I'll sleep. I'll
wake up on my own time.
10:30. Then I might get up and get on my phone and still not get out of bed.
Noon 30.
That's a little tight. It's a little tight.
That is when I called you the other day.
Yeah, but that was different. I was fucking home. It wasn't working.
Exactly. I just think that's why I said, did I wake you up? And you're like, maybe.
No, first thing I think, did you ask, are you working?
I said, are you working? Because you answered the phone very quietly.
Yeah.
You're like, hello.
And I'm
because
you know what?
You know
what? The phone was on the nightstand. And I was sleeping on my arms and my hand was asleep. So I was
no.
Trying to answer the phone. I didn't pick it up because I thought I'd drop it. So it was on the nightstand.
Speaker.
And it just did the drag. I'm like, hello.
I thought I
You're
actually
like,
thought,
hey man, you working? I'm like, no.
because I remember the one time I called you and you're like you answered the phone. You're like, it's a good thing I like you, and I'm like, why are you at work? And you're like, yeah.
Wow.
So now the question,
I'm such an asshole.
the first question is always, are you at work?
Yeah.
Because
And-
if you were at work, I'd be like, I can talk to you later.
Yeah. This all revolves around you being at home.
So then when you said you're not at work, and I'm like, oh, you're really quiet. I'm like, did I wake you up? And then there's this pause.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Needless to say, Joe was a little unmanageable on the weekend. She needed a nap,
Oh, that's fair.
and her favorite napping buddy is Grandpa. And
Sure,
who am
why not?
I to say to a
Big burly dude probably kick off a lot of heat when you're sleeping.
who am I to tell a 2.5-year-old that no, I'm not gonna you go sleep by
can't
yourself.
have a nap with Grandpa.
So I went up and I probably was asleep before she was. That's why I always find that's reassuring and be like,
leading by example.
is he faking?
Leading by example.
And then you get the little poke and you don't do anything. She's like, well, fuck, he's asleep. I might as well.
I might as well go.
Yeah. And then I like crack an eye and I'm like, I beat you. I knew what was going on. Yeah. So I was a little asleep.
Okay.
And it was afternoon.
It was like about 12:30.
Yeah. So, but I got up right away.
You did, and you were there in like less than 20 minutes.
Yeah,
So
my turnaround time.
More,
my turnaround time was pretty good.
Mine can be if it has to be.
Yeah, but so last night I got home. Man, I was tired. But then I got into the bed.
Yep.
Sleep was not coming.
Really?
Yeah. So work's done at 9:30.
Sure.
Let's say 10 o'clock, quarter after when you get home, get ready for bed, hop in.
Yep.
And then got on fucking TikTok.
Well, there's your problem right there.
I know it's bad. They say not to touch it. I do a few
phone
different
time in bed.
Yeah.
That's me too.
Yeah. Right. I got the iPad, so it's all nice and big.
That's where I get my YouTube subscription updates every night.
Yep. And so did some stuff. I play an online game, did my update there.
Sure.
Made sure all my little army men were out doing army men things.
Do your thing, guys.
Yeah. And then got on TikTok and it just flows away. And then I'm like, oh, look, it's 1:30.
Like, oh shit.
So went to bed, got up this morning, and I'm like, I'm still tired.
No, it's easy enough to do.
But yeah. I was in a good mood. Everybody that had a pressing question got a good answer today.
There's actually been, I think I don't do it because I kind of think like the stigma associated with it, but like I've often thought about, because I have nights where I can't sleep either, and it's like I know that there is actual scientific evidence that supports that a single nightcap can help you sleep. And I'm like, do I get up and pour myself a drink?
It's tough because
in the morning,
and like this is this whole thing, and then you're like, all of a sudden it's like, does this become a regular thing?
Well, that's
and
it,
then
right?
you're like, am I drinking so I can
go to sleep?
And I mean, there's guys that I know that get home and they have a beer at the end of work
every day.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I mean, right now, I think, I haven't drank all week.
Yeah.
Last week and this week until I recorded with you, and now I'm gonna have 2 beers tonight.
I've had,
but that's just on brand.
Excellent. You know what, with the outdoor work and the heat, the humidity,
you're just better to drink water.
Well, and I've been drinking copious amounts of
Right.
water. Like my water intake has like gone up exponentially.
Yeah. It's one thing to stop and have a beer.
Yeah. I've had,
but I mean, like, right, you
two.
Right. But I mean, and it's refreshing and it's nice, but I mean, it doesn't necessarily encourage you to keep working.
No, well, there's that aspect too, right? So
yeah,
tend to split them up with water in between.
Right.
But yeah, so had a couple this week, but just in the heat and stuff.
But yeah, to me, even on having a bad day, it's more likely that somebody else is going to be like, oh, I had a terrible day and had a difficult customer. And then somebody would probably at the house get me a drink before I would go to the fridge and get it for myself, as in I need that because I had a bad day.
Right.
But if you're going to bring it to me because I had a bad day and you think that's what I need, I wouldn't say no.
I wouldn't say no to that.
No.
Yeah. That's very thoughtful. Thank you.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, you get it. But that or to unwind, to me, it's
I'll tell you what, are you working on Friday?
Yeah.
So you should go to work on Friday, have the like shittiest day ever,
Right.
and then on Saturday, I will get you drinks all day.
Topless?
There may be a wardrobe malfunction. I
Function?
don't know,
Yeah,
A nip
all
slip?
day. I don't expect you to get me drinks all day.
Why? The cooler will be right beside me.
I know. Here you go.
That's right. It'll be easy.
I don't even know what I'm going to drink yet.
Neither do I. I always said to Kim we should make a list of what we want for the celebration.
Yeah. Because it's like, oh, I want some of this and I want some of that. And
I know for a fact, I know I'm going to want some beers at some point.
Right.
So it's like, do I go and buy what I've been drinking lately? I know now that
maybe we should just get some Pabst Blue Ribbon in small cans.
the hell we are.
When's the last time you had one?
Mm,
It's not that bad.
within a year, I'd say. That's one of those beers where it's like I have to be drinking that and nothing but that.
Oh, okay.
Because if I have anything else around that's
Right.
even remotely better.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's cheap.
It is. I don't mind it. It's funny too, because if you go and get a case and it's a little can, you're like, look how big this can, my hand looks. Because now it's like,
I went to buy pop for Kim. Like we had no pop in the
Right.
house, and it's like I've got to go to the grocery store. She's like, while you're down there, can you get some pop? I'm like, okay. So all they had for Diet Pepsi, which is what she likes, was the mini cans, and I'm like, it's that or bottles. So I buy like the 15 pack of mini cans. And I get the thing home, and Kim like crack sense of humor.
Yeah.
She's like, she's got the can in her hand, and she's like, look, I feel like Andre the Giant.
It's so small.
She's like manhandling
Yeah.
this little baby can, and of course I get the humor, and I think it's hilarious.
I love that. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely gonna want some beer over the weekend, but then it's like if I want to have tasty rum drinks, I need to get some more rum.
Are you out of rum?
Well, I gave a bottle away as a birthday present,
Right.
And then
I still have some Cuban rum.
I think I've got half a bottle or a quarter bottle of.
I think I've got it
spiced.
uncracked. Whatever the bar type was.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm out of Dr. Semd.
Oh, the Baron. You
I bought that
I thought
again.
You didn't like that.
It's good with Dark and Stormy.
I was gonna say, yeah.
That's
what you used it for.
That, and I drank a lot of that shit. It was good.
The Baron Samdi.
Yeah,
I got it because it's a cool looking bottle.
It is cool, and I mean, I like it. Just not as. I wonder if the days of me drinking rum over ice are over. I hate to think that because I pounded the hell out of that for a year, and then all of a sudden it's like
I think the thing is you find the one that you like, and then that's kind of your go-to.
Yeah.
But like for me, it's kind of like the beer thing. I like to try different ones. So for me, it's like haven't had that one before, and that's how I discovered the one with the banana. Yeah. So like that's never going to go away for me. Like I will always, but I find even now like I'm maybe a little more agreeable to mixing stuff that I may not have mixed previously. Like that's a good bottle of rum. Don't mix that. No, I want to mix drinks.
Yeah.
But again, my rum, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, right. Don't tell me how to drink my booze. But that's I've told that story where, I've had scotch that's supposed to be delicious scotch, and I still had to throw some cock on. Some Coke. Did I say cock?
You sure did. You throw some cock on it.
Throw some cock on top of it. Make it bearable. Oh dear. Throw some Coke on top of it, and to make it bearable.
Yeah, throw some cock on it to make it bearable.
2 hours later.
Oh shit!
That's gonna be the line this week.
Yeah. I want that cut out.
I'm gonna be across the deck and be like, Scotty, need a rum and cock?
Yeah. Throw some cock in that drink. Need to make it bearable.
You had to make me cry.
Oh shit! That's good. That's good. You see, we need more moments like that.
Oh, that's a Freudian slip of the best guy.
Yeah. Rum and cock. Hold the ice. Don't want to chip a tooth. Oh dear.
Wow.
Yeah, that was good. That's almost as good as toe sandals.
Oh, it's definitely right up there with it.
Oh, that's good. We need those every once in a while. So yeah, super tired at work today. Got through the day. That was good. Got to work on time.
Did not show up 5.5 hours.
No.
Ago. That's good.
Tell you though, I'm feeling old.
Why?
Lots of things, man. Lots of things.
Oh, I joke about my old man bones. So
Right.
I guess
So
I
it's
can
like,
appreciate it
right.
at some
I
level.
can't, right. I can't start the next day or many days. You know, there's the odd one where it's like, oh, I only got 4 hours and I'm good to go. Like, right.
Yeah,
Hitting on all the cylinders and you're like, oh, no problem. And there's days where it's just like, oh man. And I think I'm up on the scale again.
Are you?
Yeah.
I haven't looked lately.
And
Kim keeps thinking I'm trimming out, but
right.
I
I
don't see
can,
it.
right. My legs and my knees are sore. So I know,
yeah.
I guarantee you, if I hop on the scale,
You feel like you're carrying more?
I'm probably touching at the high end of 250, probably, because that's when my knees always ache.
I'd love to weigh 250.
I know.
Again.
No, I'm saying I'm probably at the high end of
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
right,
yeah.
probably 258, 259, probably looking at 260.
Yeah.
And it's like, right, where I mean, and then I tried the intermittent fasting and I got down, and then it's like, I'm kind of hungry all the time, so I kind of got off of it, and the weight just pounded back on.
All the food that I like is, I like carbs.
It's rich, it's savory, it's for sure.
I mean, I could do paleo, but then my heart would explode, right? Like, I just don't know where the balance is for me. Where dietary.
So and then so today, or maybe a couple of days ago, I was like, "What's that mark on my forehead?" I'm like, "Is it a pimple?" I try to pop it. It's not a pimple.
Oh,
so it's like, is that old man skin plaque? You know how people get those nasty
age spot.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck.
Got an age spot?
I think I do. No, it's white and pasty like I am. It's not like it's a dark one. It's not like it's gonna right. It's not like it's gonna be like, oh fuck, look at old man Elder there and the big old liver spot in his head.
I took my shirt off last night. Like I was saying, like the amount of work that we've been doing outside, and of course it's just been blistering in the heat. So I have more color without having gone to the Caribbean this year than I've ever had, to the point where I took my shirt off last night and I walked past Kim's dresser, which has the big full length mirror, and I looked at my back and there's a spot that's not, it's a scar. I presume it's a mole that I had removed that I've forgotten about. I'm like, I look like I've been shot. It looks like a fucking gunshot.
Just doesn't take the sun like the rest of you.
No.
So I mean, I got an age spot on my forehead. I probably have more skin tags and other blemishes on me everywhere than I've ever had.
I've got a couple that I'd like to
and then
freeze off.
Yeah. And then I got like a new mole that's dark, and I'm like, when did that show up on the back of my knee? And it's like, because it couldn't be somewhere where I look every day.
Right.
And I'm like, well, fuck.
You get someone to look at them for you?
Not yet.
No, you get Michelle to keep watching them for you, though.
Sure. Well, there's two that are new. They've never been there, so they're new and they're dark. So
are they flat?
Yeah,
you're okay. You're probably okay.
Probably. I said that about my heart too.
Oh, well, it's probably okay. I've said, you know what? I'm a big one. Like I'm like Mr. I'm Mr. Connect the Dots. I'm a freaking star map is what I am, right? So like I'm used to looking at stuff, and I get Kim to watch mine and I watch hers, and I've even said to her, like, there's a couple here that have changed. And as soon as there's a change, that's to me, that's an immediate indication. Get in.
Yep.
She did. She went in and she said, these two have changed. And the dermatologist looked at them. She said, nope, they're still okay. So, you're probably okay.
Yeah. Well, that's like, the blemish I had on the back of my head. Like I couldn't see it, but it wouldn't go away and it kept bleeding.
Oh.
And it was annoying me, right? It was interfering with my hockey helmet. It was interfering. And then every time I'd like run my hand over it, I'd knock the scab off. And I'm like,
cyst.
Yeah, something to that gist. So, and of course, you know me, I'm pretty lighthearted. And that's what I said to the nurse. I went and saw a plastic surgeon, did a great job.
Yep. Cut it out.
Made a Zorro Z on my head. I'm like,
nice.
Holy Jesus. Because Michelle, it's funny, I got it taken off and she's like, how many stitches? And I'm like, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know.
It's in the back of my head.
Yeah, I
How do
couldn't
know?
see. I said, I'll peel the bandage back and I'll take
You can check.
and somebody will take a picture for me. So somebody peeled the bandage back and took a picture. God, there must have, well, you remember 26 to 30 stitches. So
Yeah, but now you cut your hair and you look at that little scar. and you
oh,
think,
he did a awesome
that's what
job.
I mean, like,
And that's Michelle's like, that's more than a couple stitches. And
yeah,
I'm like,
more than a couple.
how do I know? My head was frozen and
I can't see the back of my own head.
no.
What the hell?
And you know what? Got rid of it. But I made a joke that I said it was interfering with my hair-free lifestyle. And the nurse is like, you need to be taking this more serious.
What?
And I'm like, come on. Yes.
If you can joke about it, so can she.
Yeah. And I mean,
Come
like, I
on.
get it. I know you're going to cut it off. I know you're
Yep.
going to send it away for testing to make sure it's whatever the benign. Yeah. But I mean, right? I can't shave my head with it there. I keep cutting. It's big enough that the razor hits it.
You hit it every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just, it's in the way. It's interfering. I don't like it. I want it off.
Yep.
And then it's like, so, right. I'm like, yeah, I understand it's serious and it could be cancer and right, get back the results and it's not.
Of course. Yeah.
And I'm like, thanks for ruining my funniness. So, but yeah.
Maybe she needed a little bit of
Maybe
she needed a little bit of cock in her rum.
Maybe.
Lighten up, lady.
Maybe. Very nice lady. Very nice and very professional office.
Of course, yeah.
But you know me, I like shooting the shit. I'm
Of
trying
course.
to make like talk with the doctor, trying to make like talk with the technician, and they're like,
Yeah.
man, you talk a lot. And I'm like, yeah, I do.
Hope you don't mind.
Yeah. That's what I do.
Tell me now, because
yeah.
once you accept me as a patient,
Yeah.
it doesn't stop.
No. I'm like that with my GP. I'm like that with my cardiologist. Now I'm like, oh yeah, last time I was here, and how was vacation, and
Oh yeah.
and she's like, you remember that? I'm like,
Sure do.
oh yeah, because right, I care, and like, right, you're my cardiologist now, and
Yeah.
right now she has a 3-year-old
Right.
in theory, because I
right.
only see her once a year,
Once
and
a
I
year,
feel like
yeah.
she had a 2-year-old the last time I was there, so it'd be like, how are things? What's new?
Yeah. What milestones have you hit?
Yeah, you planning on having another one? So I got to find a new cardiologist. This is the problem with having a young cardiologist, right?
They want to have families at some point.
Yeah. But so then it's like, right, it's like everything. I'm like, fuck, I want to freeze it all off or laser it off.
Yeah.
Cut the fucking bump out of my back. I'm like, I'm almost ready. It's like, you know what? Maybe I'll get it all done. I'll make an appointment and be like, I want it all cut off.
Take it all out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they kind of put limits on how much they'll take off you
At one time?
in one sitting.
I wonder.
They took quite a few off of Kim. She had it done not at. She went to see one doctor. She went to see. Oh my god, she saw a dermatologist. Dermatologist said, "Go see this other guy because he does a really good job." And then they took her, and I think she had. They cut her a deal. It was weird because the nurse did all the wheel and dealing like it was a sales thing.
So because she wanted them removed, wasn't covered under OHIP.
No, we ended up paying for
Right.
it, but the guy, like the pricing was really, really good. It was something like for like a skin tag, it was something like $50 a tag. It was like really reasonable because it's elective, right?
Yep.
Some of it had to come out because the doctor was
Right.
like, well, maybe that one and maybe that
Right.
one. And she just had some stuff that she just didn't like the look of,
Right.
that she wanted off.
Yep.
And the nurse, they do their scans, right? Their body scans.
Yes.
And the nurse was like, oh, you got a few more here. She's like, I'm going to cut you a deal. And she's like, we're going to do these ones that you've come in for, and we're going to do these other ones, no extra charge. So she got a bunch of stuff taken off, and I can't remember the name.
You better get the name. I want that guy.
Yeah.
I'll go see them.
They're on Charlotte. I can't think of the guy's name.
Might be the bye guy.
It was this nice guy. Really
Yeah,
nice guy.
Chinese or
Maybe
Asian.
Yeah. Nurse was an older lady.
Yeah.
She's super. She's the wheeler dealer.
Oh, okay. She's the one
Yeah.
that doesn't want me to make light of the.
Maybe she was actually being funny with you.
So anything else new this week?
Pretty
Pretty low key. Lots of right. You've been so focused
Yeah,
on.
there was Loki. I did watch the final assembled. The
Yes.
making of Loki.
Was there any kind of tidbits in that?
Yes. No. Yes.
I
Some.
told you the story that Georgia went to the drive-in.
You did.
Yep. And they started off with
Wasn't Black Widow, was it?
No, that was the one they settled on.
Yeah.
Because the guy's like, if you don't like it in the first 3-4 minutes,
Go over to
the other
screen.
one.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Here.
There was also the big one for me this week was the Netflix Masters of the Universe came out.
I saw that. Watched all 5.
Man,
I can't believe it was only 5 episodes.
I watched 4 episodes sort of on my phone in bed because I was tired, but I wanted to watch it. And then I started nodding off, and I'm like, I don't want to miss anything, so I shut it off.
No, it was good. I enjoyed it. Well worth the watch.
You know, it's getting review bombed, right?
Why?
It's getting review bombed by people who are like upset that you basically get a show. You get a show with He-Man that has basically no He-Man in it.
Yeah, I liked it.
I love
it. Was more. It's Tila's story.
Absolutely, it is.
Hello.
Hey, you're on live with Hangin at the Barbershop. How are you?
Good.
Good. I'm glad. Drive-in theater. You went
Yeah.
this week, right? First time ever.
Yeah.
Yep. What was the first movie you tried to watch?
It was that memorable.
Yeah. Listen,
Um,
that's how I recalled it too. I'm like, oh, I'll call her. She'll know.
oh gosh, it was the one with LeBron James.
Space Jam.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it was pretty juvenile.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you went and watched Black Widow.
hmm
And what did you think of Black Widow? Well, Wes is here with me, so I thought he would appreciate your opinion of Black Widow.
No, he won't.
No, exactly. So what did you think of it I mean, right, you've watched a lot of Marvel films, but what did you think of Black Widow?
I just didn't like it.
Because you said it was slow moving and had no action.
Yeah, like it had action, but like I feel like it just like wasn't as good as like it could have been.
Right. Okay, cool. I appreciate that. Thanks for taking my call. I'll let you go. All right. Love you lots.
Bye.
It's funny that she says it that way because like we talked about it on the other show.
Right.
And the kind of the joke was like really surprising that Marvel used a TV show, Loki, to set up the villain for basically the next phase, the next 10
for
movies.
Kang. Yeah.
And then he uses a major motion picture to set up a villain for a Hawkeye TV show.
Right. Yeah. I remember that.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I liked it. I think that Black Widow suffered from the Captain Marvel syndrome. Like it just came out at the wrong
time, and it waited too long, and delays, and
absolutely.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it feels a little. I mean, it's a good movie. Like, don't get me wrong. It is a good movie. It has a couple of moments where I kind of went, oh, because the sight gag was funny, but it was just not. It took me out of the experience of the movie. You know, like where. You've seen the film by now.
Nope.
You've not seen the film. Okay,
I'm not going to pay $35 to watch it.
I won't tell you. Oh, then just come over to the house and watch
it. You can tell me whatever. I don't mind spoilers.
So there's a gag about they get a helicopter that they're going to fly this helicopter to where they need to go to do the thing that they want to do. And the question is there enough gas to get there? Oh, there's plenty of gas. And then in the next scene, it's a still shot. Cameras focused on a piece of ground, and the helicopter literally drops into frame. Boom, pancakes. I'm like, if you ran out of gas while you were flying, you would not drop straight out of the sky. I get the sight gag. That's exactly what it is. It's a sight gag. So it's kind of funny in that sense, but it's like, oh, but they would have been flying. It doesn't.
Yeah.
No.
He would have careened and crashed.
Right. And all the other things that go with it. So, but yeah. So I liked it. Yeah.
No. And I mean, right. You're yeah. And as I was, it's still going to be a good Marvel movie. They introduced some other cool things too, right? The other guy that plays it, and he's like, oh yeah, this is actually, and then in an interview afterwards, he's like, oh yeah, I was Ursa Major.
Yeah. So
and
that's first mutant in the MCU.
Yeah.
First confirmed mutant in the
MCU.
So
I thought that was interesting. It's still
got his arm broken. Quite handily.
Yeah. It's super interesting. I'm very anxious to see how they wrap this all around. Whether it's going to be a multiverse thing or whether it's going to be they've been there all along.
There's no question about it that the multiverse thing, every movie, every project in the foreseeable future, they all wrap up together. I mean, the new Spider-Man, and the Doctor Strange movie are pretty much this multiverse. It's in the title, Multiverse of Madness, right? So
you got her. Yeah,
and Spider-Man is pretty much a live-action Spider-Verse movie.
Yep.
And now there's even talk that that Venom may somehow tie into the MCU. So interesting. To see
how would you not?
I don't know.
I mean, he's selling tickets. They're good movies.
Yeah,
he's getting
really
the second movie anyway.
Yeah.
Or Carnage or Venom.
Venom, but Carnage is in it.
Yeah.
Maximum Carnage.
Right.
Or that's a video game, Maximum Carnage. Let There Be Carnage. That's the title of the film. Let There Be Carnage. Yeah. So Masters was the big news for me this week. I watched it.
You enjoyed it?
I loved it. Like you say, it you could call it the Tila show. It's getting review bombed for those reasons, because I guess if you come right down to it, the only nitpick is that the marketing, the lead up to the show was billed heavily as the direct continuation. And on a couple levels,
sure it is.
It is spiritually. It can't be the direct continuation for some legal reasons, but all that stuff aside, I think if your marketing relies heavily on the character of He-Man, and then people are just complaining that there just wasn't enough He-Man in it,
right?
Because of story choices, which were pretty bold story choices, I might add.
Did you watch the after show?
I did, yeah.
I did too.
Yeah.
I mean, they got a lot of top-notch voice talent.
The voice talent we've known for well over a year.
I'm not probably in depth with you, but yeah. I knew that Mark Hamill was involved.
I
knew Leah Henley was involved, but then seeing everybody else too, I was like, cool. That's
Tony Todd as Scareglow. You could not have been, and I'm not a horror movie fan at all, but like when Tony Todd cast as Scareglow is like the best animated casting choice probably ever.
He-Man.
Yeah.
Who was that?
So
I didn't recognize. That was the only guy I really didn't recognize.
Oh my Lord, what's his name? More recently, you would have seen him on Supergirl as Mon-El.
Okay,
so that's your Prince Adam / He-Man.
Yes, I just didn't recognize him as in.
Yeah.
So he was really the only one as a casual fanboy.
Diedrich Bader as King Randor.
Yeah.
Oswald.
I mean, I got everybody. I pretty much got everybody else.
And Cringer. I can't think of his name. It's the guy from Office Space.
Yep.
But this is my stapler. That guy.
Yeah. Which I liked. I thought that was a good.
Yeah, it's super good. I love the choices. It's not lost on me. I think that a lot of people are really upset because they don't really. If you're watching this thinking that you're getting 100% continuation of the Filmation show from 1985, you're not getting that. 100%.
Why would you bother? That's not what it's about.
So many Easter eggs packed in this show that if you didn't play with the toys, or you didn't watch even the 2002 rebooted Mike Young production He-Man, there are nods to everything peppered. Even the 1987 movie gets a nod in that scene where they pull out basically the flying manhole covers.
Yep.
It's right out of the 87 movie. But Orko goes through this metamorphosis where he has his Filmation look, and then when he's later on in the series where he's sick and dying, it's his 2002 look with the notch out of his hat and the jewel on it. Like, I mean, that's 2002 Orko. Like,
right.
That's not lost on me, right? So when I see all this stuff and I say, oh, there's characters that were made exclusively through Masters of the Universe Classics, the action figure line, like all of the He-Men of yore.
Well, you know what? If I hadn't hung out with you,
you wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know Scareglow.
Yeah.
But I know you had that action figure and we sold it at a show.
Yes, the vintage one.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's that guy.
Yeah.
But I don't know his backstory and all that. But I mean, I would have just been like, why do they got a glow in the dark skeleton?
People who didn't watch the 2002 series would have no idea who King Grayskull is.
No.
And the fact that King Grayskull is, again, cool choice that they've turned him into a black man, but it doesn't affect, like, the original King Grayskull in the 2002 series was actually like Adam's ancestor. Now he's just like one of the He-Men of yore, which he was before anyway.
So, not to spoil it.
Sure.
And if you don't want to, hear a spoiler or my opinion of a spoiler, And
Mute
you
it
might
right
be
now.
able to fill this in.
I'll
Did
try.
Man at Arm and the Sorceress get it on, and Tila's their love
Yeah,
child?
so this is the big thing. I think the speculation, I think, coming into the show was like with the title Masters of the Universe Revelation, what was the revelation going to be? Well, I think we got subverted on that. I think what we were getting was the conclusion of that story. Like back in the Filmation show, it was there was a couple episodes, very few episodes of that show were actually serialized. So
Yep.
this is the one big arc that was left sort of unfulfilled, was that when Man at Arms was just a palace guard, he actually came across the sorceress when she was injured, nursed her, or no, the sorceress came across Man at Arms when he had been injured, and she nursed him back to health. And then it's implied that they
Can't you say they fell in love?
right. So it's implied
Instead
that
of the bum dick wow wow.
yeah. So it's implied that they had a relationship,
Right. Horizontal
Because-
mambo.
because
He plucked her
publicly-
feathers.
Publicly, Man at Arms has always been Tila's adopted, she's been his adopted daughter, that he's adopted her.
Okay.
So the thing is, the sorceress never told Duncan that in fact he is the father. So Duncan doesn't actually know that he's the father, and Tila doesn't know that that's her mother. So they changed that in the 2002 series, where they actually made the character Fisto
Right.
with the giant fist.
Yep.
They made him her father and made Duncan Fisto's brother. So the whole adopted parentage thing works that
Right.
way. So the big going into it, the thing was, we thought, oh, we're going to get the conclusion to that, which we probably are, given that whole magical swirly thing that happened that she didn't really expect.
Right.
But that's going to be down the road. And I think the big one,
Yeah.
the revelation was her finding out that Adam was He-Man.
Right.
There's the big
Yeah, because
revelation
that
there.
threw her for a loop, and she kind of
Yeah,
dropped
that's-
everything. And
That's the catalyst for
Yeah.
her story, right?
Yeah.
All you people that I've trusted since I was a kid,
you're
you've
all lied to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't fault her for that.
Nope.
Yeah. So
But yeah, we shouldn't be talking so much. We're off topic. We're off
yeah, I
brand.
should be doing this on the other show.
That's all right. But yeah, I mean, I watched it. It certainly was good. And I hope the negative reviews don't interfere with part 2. Because I
don't think
feel like
so he's already said, I actually caught him on I don't know if it was a Facebook thing or if it was just his social media thing. He's actually part 2's already done. It's ready
good
to go.
So they won't not release it.
I don't think so.
They've got too much money involved. But because Netflix isn't afraid to walk away from shit.
As we've learned. Yeah. But they've saved some stuff too, right? So was it what's the one that we're watching with the plane crash?
Manifest.
Is that a Netflix or is that Amazon?
That is CBC, and no one's picked it up. Season 3.
It just went. It's on Netflix now.
Yes, season 1, season 2, season 3 just finished, so
Yeah.
it'll make it
Canceled.
there. And now it's canceled. No
Canceled,
season
yeah.
4. And he's saying, well, somebody picks
Maybe
it up,
maybe a movie
or a
maybe-
movie to finish it off.
Kim had said to me the other day that there's a fan campaign, save Manifest. So
There's definitely a
maybe I'll give it
hashtag, and
if fucking Sons of Anarchy can come back, and that came out of nowhere this week, that Sons of Anarchy is getting another season.
oh, is it?
Yeah,
We just Michelle's been
binging.
re-binging it.
Yeah,
Yeah, she watched it all, and now she's watching it all again. And it's funny, I'll come in and be like, where are we at?
I'm getting Kim to watch. I made her watch the prequel to Battlestar. I made her watch Caprica,
Right?
which I loved. I was really sad that it got cut short with the 2 seasons, but I said, "You want to try Battlestar?" And I kind of explained it to her that it's not the 1979. It's none of the cheese of that. And I explained to her, like, when this was on TV, it was not the best science fiction on TV. It was like hailed as the best show on TV.
Yeah, they did really well.
So we started watching it, and she's in.
She's in. Oh,
So,
good.
Yeah. It's good. Some good science fiction.
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
That's
All right. Well,
not too bad. That's an hour and what? We're an hour and 20.
we're 123 and 48 seconds.
About nothing.
About nothing.
Right on
So
brand
we
for
are
hanging at the
definitely-
barbershop.
Yeah, we could spend this about 17 different other ways, and
Andy will pick some key points out of it. and
Hopefully.
maybe the title for this episode would be a rum and cock.
rum and cock. There's just no way you're going to escape that now.
Oh, it's good. Right? If you're toe sandals, I'm happy with that.
All right.
Shout out to Fenland Brewery. That's the double IPA.
The double IPA.
So
oh, yeah, you're on the beer.
I am, and you're on the root.
I'm on the root beer.
And it's very good. A little high in the alcohol by volume.
Does it taste?
It's not
strong?
it's not the hoppiest for something called double IPA. I would still say it's drinkable. It's
Yeah.
not bitter. It's not sharp. So it's not bad.
We should maybe talk about before we get going, finish up with our visit to Old Dog for
Oh
the
man, that's right.
for the tasting. Yeah.
So somebody bought Wes have we talked about this?
I'm pretty sure
The dog pound. So
the Mug Club.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you got the yellow mug that we
I
joked
did.
that if you weren't
the
in there,
joke that if you don't go and get this thing soon enough, there will be the shitty yellow one there for you.
and then you loved it.
I walked in, I saw, she says, okay, go and pick one of the mugs off the shelf. Anything that doesn't have a name on it is available. And the first thing I see is this gorgeous, pebbly looking yellow.
Goldenrod.
I guess so, sure.
Sure.
But it was meant to be, man.
Yeah,
Flip
and
the
it's-
damn thing over and,
And it's your number.
right. And it's etched number 12.
Yeah.
It wasn't stickered.
No. Mine's sticker
Or
because
written on with a Sharpie.
yeah, mine was an afterthought. They rotated in because it was cool.
Yeah. So,
So
it
yeah,
worked
so ideally the Mug Club, you get some
out. We got our first perk.
you got a nice pottery throwing
Yeah.
stein.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And you get a little bit of a deal on beer when you go there to drink at the
yeah, when you dine in or when you
dine in or drink in.
drink in, I guess,
And
yeah.
then when he brews a new beer, the Dog Pound members get an early invite. So we got our first invite,
First invite to go and sample
the dog's breakfast.
dog's breakfast.
And it's a stout.
It is. It's a chocolate coffee stout.
Yeah. And it was good.
It was. I thought it was really good, considering how not a stout fan that I am.
Yeah, in between lagers.
Lagers.
You're not a lager guy either.
Yes, I am. Lager, pilsner. I like a
what do
lager.
ales. He's not an ales or a.
I can be. It depends. Like it really does.
I don't like ales and I don't like stouts.
Yeah, but let's quantify that. Like finally, I've got the best answer that I've ever gotten when we've talked about this a
Yep.
lot about why does every craft brewery and they're going have like a slew of ales and almost nothing else, and the real what's more likely the real reason is that the turnover is faster
Right. So less time in the
in the kettles.
kettles. So you're making more beer.
I mean, ultimately in a business model, I mean, dollars are going to drive it. So I
Yep.
mean, if you can get your product to market in 2 weeks as opposed to 2
Months. Because ideally, and the stout takes longer.
Yeah.
And it's the first beer that he's going to charge as a premium.
Yeah, premium.
So
Put a
he's
premium on it.
he's upcharged it, which is smart.
Yeah. I will say this about Old Dog, which and another thing that I like, and I'm not saying this because we're part of the Mug Club and because we're affiliated with them in any way, shape, or form, but it's like just the cost alone to walk in and pick up some cans or to go and get
Reasonable.
so reasonable. The 1 liter growler with the deposit cost me $12.
Right.
The day you refilled yours for what, 10?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I was pretty happy
And I
about
mean,
that.
you go to some of these other breweries and you're dropping like there's certainly is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
premium from craft beer.
Yep.
And yeah. Speaking of beer, my fridge is full.
So we got to thin that out.
So I guess I've had a few people say they want to come out and drink beer with us. So whether that's Patrick or Kevin, maybe Matt,
Yeah, really.
one of them needs to reach out and say, I want to be the next guy on Cold Ones.
Yeah, because we'll be due for one here pretty soon.
Sooner or later, right? I think I can't remember how many episodes ago we did the seltzers.
Seltzer Wars. I don't think I want to do that one again.
You know what? I think this is the problem.
No more
Is-
firm solution.
Yeah, is when you do, because they've come out with another seltzer. So they came out with the blood orange,
Okay.
which again, still has a hoppy taste because they're a
'cause
brewery.
it's hop based.
And then they've come out with another one since I can't lemon something.
That might be better than
I haven't tried it.
Okay.
But
Maybe it'll turn up in your beer box.
maybe, but it's super interesting. It probably will. But as I say, in the scheme of things, it's the least seltzer what I would think is as a seltzer.
Yeah.
So I mean, I appreciate that they're trying new things, and I like the beers, but maybe, is the seltzer market something you should be chasing into? I see Coors just entered. You can get a Coors seltzer, which would be interesting to try and see if they've stayed away from. Is it?
I think it's one of those things where, for it's the Coke Pepsi thing. If one's doing something, you've got to have a competitive.
Or you're
product.
losing market share.
Yeah.
But as I say, like Budweiser got on it, but they're not doing it beer based or hop based. So it's interesting. But we'll see. But yeah, I definitely have. I've got some Mexican style lagers.
Ooh, I'm in for that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a good one to do before we lose the rest of the summer. Is we do a cerveza.
Cerveza. So we've got Old Dog there for sure.
Yeah, we'll get some Chihuahua.
And then I've got one out of Kingston.
Okay.
Fenland Brewery does one.
Nice.
And then we just got to find the fourth.
Well, there's some big box.
Yeah, Soul, or you could go with Corona.
What's another one? Brava is, I think, another summery one.
And then we got to decide when we do it.
Yeah.
Are we going to be lime or no lime?
Oh, see, that's a good question.
Because I think some of these, when you add the lime, it ups their flavor profile.
It improves. Yeah, it definitely changes.
We won't talk about it now, but I think
here's
that's
the thing. So I would say this: if you're going to do lime, the best way to control it is to, and hear me out on this, although I would much prefer a fresh lime slice, is I would say use concentrate, because you can control
Measure
it by the drops, right? So if this one gets 2 drops, they all get 2 drops.
Right.
And that way you can sort of control it that way. So you're not.
Interesting.
But that's the only reason I would do that.
Right.
It's just for consistency.
I mean, you can cut a lime appropriately to the right size, but it's the question of how much you squeezed it versus how much I squeezed it.
Have you not seen the way that I prep? If I get a drink with a lime on it, have you not seen what I go through to prep that thing?
Yeah.
I crush the crap out of it on the side and make sure that and then jam it in. I don't just shove the thing in and then let it. No, I have to destroy it.
And right, it's always interesting too where the lime came from, and I mean that's something to talk about on that episode. But some people are like, oh, because it's the flavor, and some people are like, oh, it's this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, right, that's it's interesting too whether you because ideally in North America we shouldn't have to lime it up with how things are. In my opinion, of why people say they started putting lime in Mexican beer.
Maybe it was maybe
don't
it was
spoil
to fight off the scurvy.
Yeah, I was gonna say don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
Okay.
So
let's do that. We'll make the next one cerveza.
Sure. And we'll try to invite just one person.
Sure.
Because then it becomes a more
sociable
and it's somebody else's opinion. And then it also doesn't not even votes.
No, exactly. That's definitely going to.
There should totally be a winner, and there should totally be a loser.
And I don't have to be the math man this time. Jesus Christ!
I guess that falls to me. You can't ask. I guess to tally it.
It's nightmarish.
Yeah.
All right. So if you want to be a cerveza tasting interviewee, we'd love to hear from you. So hit us up on the Facebook page at Hanging at the Barbershop on Facebook, or you can
DM us on
Instagram, or you can hit us up on the Twitter. Yeah, that's it for me.
I'm Scott.
And I'm Wes.
Thanks for hanging out at the barbershop.
We'll catch you next time, guys.
Cheers.
Bye for now.
Hey, thanks for hanging with us at the Barbershop. You can find us on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Please like and share us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram and Twitter to stay up to date on all of our shenanigans. Hanging at the Barbershop is a Sawcast production.